Hello, and welcome to Not Just Books, the library's monthly show about what is happening in your world and at the Williamson County Public Library. And my name is Dolores Greenwald, and I'm the director. And thank you for joining us. In our Your World segment, we have Marianne Schroer and Rocklin here. Marianne is the executive director of Williamson County CASA, which stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. Rocklin is a local hero and rock star who's trained by an organization called K9 Companions for Independence. They will be joining me to talk about their new book entitled Rocklin Goes to Work. The library worked with CASA on this project, and we are so proud. In our What's Hot in Books segment, we'll be discussing Star Wars Reads Day. We've planned some terrific activities for this event, and during the program, we'll be interviewing someone very special. So if you have Star Wars fans in your house, grab them up and bring them to the TV because they will not want to miss this. Last but certainly not least, we have the one and only Main Street philosopher Bill Peach. Bill's been on the show before discussing local author events, but today he'll join us to talk about Indie Author Day. The library will celebrate with other libraries around the U.S., recognizing the contributions of local authors. If you're an indie author or aspiring writer, please stay tuned for this important information. You don't want to miss a minute. Sit back and relax, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. In our Save the Date segment today, we have a very special guest with us from a galaxy far, far away, who I thought I would have never been able to interview on my show because he is so busy. But our very special guest right now is Lord Darth Vader. And thank you so much, Lord Vader, for joining us today. You're here to talk to us about a very special program happening in October called Star Wars Reads Day. So do you want to tell us about that, Lord Vader?
The Emperor has decreed that everyone must read in October.
Well, you know, that's a pretty good decree. I kind of like that myself. And how did it start, Lord Vader?
This began a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, when we decided reading was the true power of the Force.
Reading is the true power of the Force. I like that, Lord Vader.
And
Thank you, along with some other Star Wars folks, had some events for Star Wars Reads last year around October. So you want to tell us a little bit about what the library did in the past?
Yes. We had many apprentices come into the library to learn the ways of the Force. Young and old, all they came. They learned from Master Yoda. They met Ewoks. They met members of the powerful forces of the Empire. They met me. We will be doing many things like that. A galaxy of fun, as the Emperor says to me.
Well, I agree with the Emperor again with that. We have a lot of different activities that we're going to be doing around Star Wars Reads. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. We will be having a library-wide treasure quest to search for the secrets of the Force of the Empire. You will journey through the many galactic locations in the library to learn the ways of the Force. We will have challenges against me.
I like that. Sounds very fun. Now, Lord Vader, how are people going to know exactly what these activities are?
You will check your Galactic Library website to find out all the information that the Emperor has decreed is necessary for Star Wars Reads Day.
And that address is wcpltn.org. And also, if you have an email account, you can set up a email to get every week that will tell you what is happening. You can subscribe by sending an email to ref@williamson-tn.org. Now, Lord Vader, tell us about some of the great books about Star Wars that are out.
We have many books about Star Wars. We have technical readouts of Star Wars spaceships. We have books about the Force and the family of Skywalker. We have the original secret hidden script of the very first film with many changes that you must come to the library to read.
Very good. And a lot of them, you mentioned the technical portions that are very, they can get very technically detailed when it comes to the ships and the mobile equipment that's used on in the movies and what have you. What do you think is the most important part of reading? Why should people, especially children, read?
Open your mind to the galaxy. If you are here with a book, you can be anywhere. You don't need a hyperdrive. You don't need the Force. You just need the stories in the book to take you anywhere, anywhen. From today to tomorrow to a galaxy far, far away. All of that is in a book.
Your imagination can be your hyperlink. Very good.
It is the one thing that is stronger than the Force. Imagination.
Well, Lord Vader, we are going to do some things, have some special events for Star Wars Day. But tell us a little bit more about the teen department at the Williamson County Public Library. What are some of the things happening there? I know you have friends that are there all the time and do very good job in planning programs and events for teens.
We have every month a Star Wars club for teens ages 12 to 18. It is run by the teenagers themselves, and they do an incredible job. They gather to talk about Star Wars, to learn about the upcoming films, to discuss the old films and everything they love about Star Wars. And everyone ages 12 to 18 is invited to come. Check the library website for details on when and where.
And we also have a chess club. Is that right?
There is a chess and strategy game club that occurs every third Saturday of each month. We play chess, we play strategy games, including some about Star Wars. It is open to all teens ages 12 to 18. Come and learn about the ways of strategy.
That is a very good opportunity for teens to network, get to know other teens. Strategy is a very important part of learning, and we are very happy that we can play a part of that, Lord Vader. Tell us what is next for Lord Vader. Is he going to be here during Star Wars Day, do you think? Do you think he'll be here?
I will always be with you.
Very good. We appreciate you coming today, Lord Vader. And is there anything else you would like to say to people watching?
May the Force be with you.
Thank you so much, Lord Vader. We appreciate you coming today, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. In our Your World segment today, we have two very, very special guests with us. We have Marianne Schroer, who's the Executive Director of Williamson County CASA, and Rocklin, and we're going to be talking about a very special project we did together. So help me welcome Marianne. Hi, Marianne.
Hey, thank you for having us today.
Well, it's a treat. Anytime I get to see you in Rocklin is always a treat.
I think that feeling is mutual. Rocklin likes you too.
Ah, he's a sweetie. Tell us a little bit about CASA and what CASA does.
CASA, it stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. We recruit and train volunteers to advocate for kids in the juvenile court system. And at Williamson County CASA, and I had this question the other day, do we need a CASA in Williamson County? Do we need people to advocate for kids? We have 100 advocates, and we served last fiscal year 417 children, so that's quite significant.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because not a lot of people would know that you guys are that busy. So tell us just briefly a little bit about the volunteer commitment to be a member of a CASA volunteer.
We have, he has to lay next to his best friend.
He can do that.
The commitment, we ask for a 2-year commitment when someone becomes a CASA advocate, because we don't want to have to change CASAs. Children have so many changes, especially when they're going through the juvenile court system, and we don't want them to have to change CASAs. We have a 33-hour training, and then we ask for 12 hours of continuing ed once you're certified as a CASA. And most of our CASAs take usually 1 to 2 cases each. Some might take more than that. And we talk a lot in that whole process about what's expected of them, what court will be like. We work closely with the Department for Children's Services, closely with juvenile court, and closely with attorneys, especially those that serve as guardian ad litems for children.
Well, very good. Well, I had the privilege of working with you and Rocklin on a very special project. So tell us about the project in the book.
This has been one of my favorite projects. Next to having Rocklin, this has been my second favorite. And I think everybody can tell how much Rocklin grew to love you during that process. But we wanted to have a book, and once we got Rocklin, we thought, wouldn't it be great to have a book for kids who would help them understand a little bit, or be a little more familiar with what happens when you go through the juvenile court system. One reason we have Rocklin is so that whole process will be a little less scary for kids, and the more they know, the better. So hence the book, and that would help them feel a little more secure. And since we had Rocklin, we thought that would be a great way to tell that story of what does Rocklin's day look like, and what is his job, and what's the job of an advocate. So that was kind of the purpose of the book, and we partnered with you guys, and it was such a great experience.
And one of the things I realized with working on the book is that I can see now that it could be a really scary thing for a child to go through, because they're meeting people they don't know for the first time. They've had, these unusual events happen to them. So I think it is good to have the book and have Rocklin to kind of help guide through that process.
Yes, even though we have such a wonderful juvenile court judge and magistrate, and we have a wonderful court staff, and everybody there really does try to make the children feel a little more comfortable, and it's still, as we call it in the book, sometimes bad, sad, and scary things happen. And one of the scary things is having to go to court and go through that system.
And we have an example in the book that a child was a little leery, didn't want to talk to you or any of the other adults, but they would talk to Rocklin.
Yes.
And that's based on a true story.
It's based on a true story. We had a child in court, and he was very anxious, and he had to testify that day in court. So I could see that he was getting really anxious, and Rocklin was there with him, and Rocklin was laying on the floor. And I said, would you want to talk to me about it? I can see that you're feeling really anxious. And he said, I really don't want to talk to you about it. I said, well, would you like to talk to Rocklin about it? Because he won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
So he thought about it for a minute, and then he got down on the floor with Rocklin and lifted up Rocklin's ear and told him, I'm not sure what Rocklin has still not told. So it made him feel better, and that's what I see all the time with kids. And Rocklin then was able to go with him when he testified or talked to the judge and be able to be there with him through that experience.
What has been the response of the book from other CASA groups?
Our Tennessee CASA has been very supportive, and CASAs across the state. Everyone now knows Rocklin across the state if they have anything to do with CASA, because we've been to a lot of meetings. I had one CASA organization in West Tennessee, and they have a fairly small number of advocates. It's a smaller area, and they bought one of these for each one of their advocates so that they could read the story.
Awesome.
And then my mom gave the book to a friend. I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but the friend's granddaughter was adopted, and she read the story to her, and the little girl said, the grandmother said, we really have never had such a good conversation about adoption and why sometimes parents can't take care of their kids. And then at the very end it says, Rocklin's told you his story, now tell him yours.
Right.
And she wanted Rocklin to know that her family loves her very much.
Ah,
that's what she wanted to tell him.
That is terrific. Yeah, we did add that in. You as doing counseling, you know, you want children to open up and talk. So I loved the idea from you to put that in the back to have the kids tell their story.
Yes, because telling your story when you've been through scary times, retelling that story sometimes can be very important, very healing, and very therapeutic. And so, and they can relate to Rocklin on a number of levels. I mean, Rocklin has been I'm his third home. I'm his forever mommy. But he also went to school to learn to do what he does. He has homework to do every day, has things that he has to do, and they can really relate to him, even though he's a dog and they're human, because of the things that Rocklin has done and continues to do.
Well, if someone wants to find out more about CASA, how can they do that?
You can go to our website, www.williamsoncountycasa.org, and the book we have at the CASA office. We also have the book on Amazon for sale. Landmark Booksellers has the book.
Oh, good.
So it's being sold in a number of different places, and it's really been, I think, helpful for kids to kind of understand. And you know this, but for the viewers, it's done as a cartoon. Rocklin is really a cartoon character, and then photographs in the back. So we had some wonderful people who worked with us on this book. So we think it's been a wonderful experience, but I think what it brings to the future for children is going to be very impactful.
Well, I think it was a true labor of love by all of us that was involved in it, and I think it shows.
Yes.
Which is, I think, something to be proud of.
I think so too.
So
I think Rocklin's proud of it as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us
for
today.
having us.
And Rocklin, thank you. And I'm sure this won't be your last appearance on the show. We'll have to have you back.
We hope not. We hope not.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. In our What's Hot in Books segments, we have with us Main Street philosopher Bill Peach. We'll find out why he's called that in just a second. But we're here to talk about Indie Author Day, which is an event planned for the month of October. Bill, welcome today.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me follow a dog.
I'm sorry. You know, I didn't even think about that when I set this up. I have a very sincere apology for you, and thank you again for coming today. Before we get started on Indie Author Day, let's talk a little bit about your book, Main Street Philosopher.
Okay.
What do you want the viewers to know about the book?
It's maybe four things. A little bit historical with Main Street, my 52 years on Main Street. It's autobiographical, and then it has 2 sections of essays to sort of validate my claim to being Main Street philosopher. Once when I was going to do a book signing, one of the newspapers referred to me as one of Franklin's most prominent philosophers, which I felt good about until I thought about how many are there.
I was just wondering that myself. Well, how can someone get a copy of your book?
Landmark Booksellers.
Landmark.
Handy Hardware has a few copies, and you can catch me almost any time at Merides, and I'll have them with me.
That's your office space. You have office space.
That's my
Merides.
downtown office.
Well, we have an event coming up that is very important for local authors and independent authors called Indie Author Day. So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I was thinking about it, you know, when you think about being published, I mean, you don't wait for a publisher to find you. We live in a world of independent publishing. I've published 6 books, 3 different methods.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do this event, I think it will attract people who maybe think there's no way I can publish a book.
Mm-hmm.
But it has become very easy.
I was going to say it's probably easier now to publish than it has been at any point.
Oh, it is.
Because it is such. Now it's difficult to get recognized and acknowledged and noticed, but the publishing itself is very, very easy. So October the 8th, we're going to have an event, Indie Author Day, and we are inviting local authors to participate for a book signing event. So tell us how many authors do we have so far that you've contacted?
I think 11 confirmations. I'm sort of hoping for it, maybe at least 25, I hope. And it's going to be so multifaceted. It's not just us signing books,
Mm-hmm.
but interaction with the total writing community, published authors and aspiring writers, hoping that we can encourage people who have a story in their head or some dream of being a writer, and to help them find ways to be published.
Well, this is a national event. You can look at the website indieauthorday.com, find out other participating libraries, but it is really, the whole day is an event is a celebration of independent authors. And why do you think to acknowledge local and independent writers, for libraries to recognize them, is so important?
We realized, and if you'll check the library local collection site, we have almost 500 local authors who have been published.
That's amazing.
A great literary community. Plus, we know there are probably hundreds who have their story to tell. And this is sort of a gathering and networking of the 3 important factors of the library, the author, and the independent publishing assistants. I've had the good fortune of working with Westview
Mm-hmm.
in Kingston Springs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so easy. It's a little one-person
Mm-hmm.
publishing company, and she's published my last 3 books.
That was unheard of 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how things in the publishing world have changed so quickly, as it has in the library world too. There's going to be a panel discussion at 1 o'clock our time, and we're going to connect to a YouTube channel, and there'll be a panel to discuss different facets of independent publishing, And if you have a question for them, you can submit your question, and perhaps they'll choose to answer it if they have time. But it is going to be a great event. If you are an independent author who would like to be included in the event, you can go to our website, wcpltn.org, sign up or call us at 615-595-1250 to participate. And prior to this conversation that we're having, I've had several authors that have heard about this locally that have been interested in participating. So besides who you have been talking with, we've got a few extra as well. So I think we're going to have a good turnout.
I think 20 or 25 is a good workable number.
And also, if you are a reader and enjoy local authors, it's very much an event for you to join and come and meet some of your Williamson County community writers as well. Are you still participating in the art crawl?
Yes.
Tell the viewers a little bit about that.
The Downtown Franklin Art Crawl is primarily the visual arts, but we appreciate the written word, of course, is our art form. And a group of us are at Marianne's every first Friday night of every month. And we're there. We don't sell a lot of books, but we mingle and expose our art along with the paintings and the other things. It's a big event there. I think 58 artists or venues showing art forms.
It has really took a life of its own, really. It's been around for about 5 years, I think. And a lot of people participate and enjoy that, especially if the weather's nice. So
I sold a book last time we were there. A young girl was looking at them, and I said something about, adult reading, and she said, well, I'll read at the 7th grade level. And turned out she was a 5th grader.
I love it.
So I let her carry one of the books and sit down and look at it. And in a few minutes, she came back with the money and bought it.
Oh, well, good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And catch Bill at Marianne's, especially if you are interested in having a long discussion on politics, which we don't have time to get into right now.
No.
But thank you for joining us again today.
You for letting me
and
be
thank
here.
you for being so brave to follow Rocklin. And
I understand, well, of course, Darth Vader's on this program too. So
yeah, another tough act to follow. Thank you again, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to share with you the goings-on at the Williamson County Public Library. Thank you so much for being a part of our program today. And a very, very special thank you to our guest, Marianne Schroer, Executive Director of Williamson County CASA and Rocklin, Howard Shirley, Teen Services Librarian with the Williamson County Public Library, Bill Peach, local Main Street philosopher. Please remember you can give us your comments by sending an email to notjustbooks@williamson-tn.org, or you can leave comments and suggestions on our website at wcpltn.org. You can also let us know what you think about our new website, and while there, find out more about our activities. Also, don't miss out on our blog. You can catch it at wcpltn.org. Staff put some amazing stuff on it, and if you're a blogger, you don't want to miss it. You can always leave comments on our Facebook page at facebook.com/WCPLTN or at twitter.com/WCPLTN. We do want to hear from you about your Williamson County Library, so take a second and let us know how we're doing. And until next time, explore your world and read.